Good evening, everyone. Recognizing that we have quorum, I hereby call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I'd like to take a moment to thank the public for bringing your input to the last meeting. I think I can speak for all commissioners in saying that we value your perspectives. I've worked with staff to address some of the concerns that have been voiced, and I will continue to do so. I want to thank Commissioners Morales, Collins, and Redding for advocating to have county emails provided to commissioners. I'd also like to thank Councilmember Ellenboss for supporting that proposal, and I commend staff for their quick action. Each commissioner now has a county email address, which can be found on the county website for charter review, where members of the public can contact us directly. In our first meeting, we adopted Robert's Rules of Order. While the commission can amend those rules as we see fit, it is important to consider that rules of order are a fallback to help us keep things moving. Parliamentary procedure is no substitute for the respect that we all deserve. For that reason, I brought a gavel, and I'm not afraid to use it. I'll probably a little louder. In all seriousness, I want to highlight a few elements of Robert's Rules of Order. Members may only speak when they are recognized by the chair. No one may speak a second time until everyone who wishes to do so has spoken once. Courtesy and respect are required at all times. As your chair, it is my honor and also my responsibility to keep this commission on task. We have an important job to do, one which our constituents have entrusted to us. Any one of us has a right to voice our concerns, but it does not serve democracy for us to get bogged down in procedural minutia. In order to advance any charter amendments to the ballot, we need 10 out of the 15 of us to agree. That will require us all to stay focused. Here are 3 guiding questions to help us be effective. How can we best use the short time we have to make our government more accountable to the public? How can we ensure that democracy in our county is truly representative? How do we honor the original intent of the charter while also ensuring that it reflects the current values of our county? I will be grateful to you all for keeping those questions at the forefront of our work here together. And with that, I will ask Ms. Smith to call the roll.
Doug Chadwick.
Present.
Eamon Collins.
Present.
Liz Darrow.
Present.
Joe Ellenboss. Lindsey Graham Ellenboss.
Present.
Colton Coulterfelt.
Present.
Brad Kelly.
Present.
Maya Morales.
Presente. Present.
John Muchler.
Here.
Hannah Ordos.
Present.
Joel Pitts Jordan.
Jordan present.
Andrew Redding.
Present.
Jessica Rienstra.
Present.
Rod Stump.
Present.
Jennifer Wright.
Present. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Recognizing Commissioner Ellenboss.
I'd like to propose that we, sorry, hang on one second. I'd like to propose that we defer initiating any amendments until after this meeting, until the next meeting. Amendments to the charter, not the schedule.
Second. Second.
I think so.
It has been seconded
Okay.
by Commissioner Muchler.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Great. The reason being, a lot of the discussions I had prior to this, we talked about that. Wanted to make sure there was enough time to hear from the public, to travel around the county before we started putting things on the agenda. I think it's fair enough to address that now. If we could wait until the next meeting, that gives us another at least 4 weeks until we vote on anything.
So for clarity, Commissioner Ellenboss, is the motion to remove item number 13 or item number 14 from the agenda? Proposed amendments for introduction?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Number 14, proposed amendments for introduction.
No, I guess it's 15. Sorry.
Oh, number 15. So number 15 is additional items from commissioners, which could include business that isn't about amendments to the charter. Oh, good grief. Look at that. I've got a bum agenda. That's fine. Okay, so number 15 is proposed amendments for introduction. Thank you. Any further discussion on removing that item from tonight's agenda? Go ahead.
I just wanted to add for clarification my support of that because we do have some department heads that we wanted to speak to, and I think it would be germane to some of those amendments to hear from them first. So I support the motion.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, staff, will you call the roll, please?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Liz, I think your script version is numbered incorrectly, so I apologize.
That's all right. No biggie.
Doug Chadwick,
Aye.
Eamon Collins,
Yes.
Liz Darrow,
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss, Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly,
Yes.
Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Mutchler,
Yes.
Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Joel Pitts Jordan,
Jordan, aye.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
Yes.
Jennifer Wright.
Yes. That motion passes 13 yes, 1 no, and 1 absent. Oh, did you say aye? I thought you said nigh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Good. We will now hear from members of the public who wish to address the commission regarding the county charter. We'll start with members of the public who have signed up here in chambers, then move to additional in-person speakers, and then we'll take comments from those who have registered online. Staff, could you please read the names of those who have signed up in the chambers?
Madam Chair, there are no people signed up in chambers.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who did not sign up but would like to speak? Please, go ahead.
Do I have to come close? I
Yes,
know
please.
there was some problems with hearing.
We can hear you.
My husband and I struggled last week. We tried to attend this meeting on Zoom, and it was a struggle. And so I'm an old lady. Be patient with me because I have trouble with my words sometimes. But I want to encourage you, if you have the choice of going to a meeting or attending Zoom style, and we have a lot of experience with that during COVID and so forth. But always, if you want to be effective, go and be in person, because there's something that happens in person that doesn't happen on Zoom. But I really came to share with you something. My husband and I attended most all of the last charter review meetings. And as I look at you, I know a few of you, and you're a very diverse group. And I think it's safe to say that you think that the charter is important. And that's why you've already invested a part of your life preparing and going through election and all that. And I think that sometimes people that take on these tasks of being elected, it's a lonely thing to stand alone sometimes and stand for what you believe. But I want to go back to last time. I guess it was 10, 12 years. I can't remember exactly. But on the first meeting, a very wise, retired sheriff's deputy, he was part of the group, and he raised his hand and he said, I have a request, and I don't know his exact words, but he said, could we start these deliberations with prayer? And they talked about it. And there were some that were uncomfortable and so forth. And I think it was, and I know it was voted down. So a very wise chairman said, okay, if you're not comfortable with or scared to have prayer, we'll just have some quiet time.
Thank you for your
And-
comments. Your time is up.
Your time is up. You had 3 minutes.
I encourage you to pray. The founders of our country took time to pray, and they were
Thank
diverse
you for
as
your
they
comments.
could be.
Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here. Thank you.
Ma'am, could you please state your name for the record for us?
My name is Carol Perry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, but I'm a very nervous speaker. Okay, I came to some of the last meeting in 2015, but I came at the end of some of the meetings when everything was beginning to be finalized. So I didn't get a good picture of the way things were set up here. Needless to say, I'm not from this area. I've moved here in 2012. I understood the reason 5 districts were established instead of the 3 that were there was because underrepresentation of some areas. Currently, there are 5 districts for Whatcom County, which is enacted in the 2015. And of the 3 districts, all representatives seem to come, there is 4 representatives at this point that seem to come strictly from Bellingham when I looked up their addresses. So therefore, this is of course, y'all know this, a picture of the districts. There is a lot of outlining area that is underrepresented because they are not in Bellingham. And I've come to several of the council meetings. It just feels odd that all of these areas are underrepresented. So what I'm asking you to do is propose that maybe one of the at-large people come from the county area and one of the at-large people come from the municipalities. Looking at the voters of these areas, currently, as of today, there were 71,415 county residents registered to vote, 95,386 municipalities, which include Bellingham, Linden, Blaine, Sumas, Nooksack, Ferndale, and Everson. I just feel the county itself is being underrepresented at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record?
Rosemary Van Beek,
Thank
and
you,
I live
Rosemary.
around outside of Ferndale.
Thank you for being here, Rosemary. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak? Please state your name at the beginning for the record. I think it helps the staff.
Hello, folks. My name is Daniel Kirkpatrick. I reside in Bellingham, and I reside in Whatcom County. Proud to be both. I wasn't going to speak, but that young lass who spoke first inspired me. So I just want to say I appreciate all you for your time, your volunteering, for your work here on this commission. We, and by my observation, we live in a time where democracy is under threat around the world. And even in our country, the kind of behaviors that we're used to expecting from government officials that I would like to think were norms, such as respectful behavior, reasoned dialogue, careful consideration of issues, fact-based reasoning. These things, even in our country, are under threat. So I just want to celebrate you folks for being here, for using your best judgment, for your listening skills, for your cooperation skills, working with each other to move our county forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak?
Well, I was inspired by that last gentleman. So thank you all for being here. I just want to express my support for you, Liz. It's a real milestone to see the Charter Commission being led by a woman. Name is Atul Deshmane, and I live in Whatcom County. So that's about it. Good luck, everybody, and hopefully you get something done.
Thank you. Staff, are there any members of the public who signed up to speak on Zoom?
Yes, we have one person signed up on Zoom, Sandy Brewer. Go ahead, please, Sandy. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please, Sandy Brewer.
I couldn't find the unmute button. I got it now.
I see you're unmuted, but we don't hear you.
How's this? Nope.
Sandy, we don't hear you still. Chair, that was the only speaker we have signed up online, and it looks like they're having trouble getting through with their microphone.
Okay. Perhaps Sandy could raise their hand if they get that sorted out and we can hear from them later in the meeting. For now, I'd like to ask if any commissioner would like to suggest changes to the guidelines for public speaking or add to what we've already adopted. I'll read the guidelines that we agreed to at the last meeting for a refresher. The commission will allow general comments at the beginning of the meeting and specific comments related to agenda items during that particular item at the discretion of the chair. Comments made during open session must be germane and related to the charter. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each. Currently, members of the public may sign up to speak at the physical meeting location or register to speak via Zoom when they register for the Zoom link. In-person attendees may also speak without signing up on the sign-in sheet. Are there any other additional guidelines or changes that commissioners would like to make to these procedures? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to, I'm sorry, Commissioner Chadwick, was that your hand? Okay, I'm having to do this. Make sure I see you all. We're going to move on to the approval of the January 6, 2025 minutes. Does anyone have amendments to those minutes? Sure.
I got a message that the public could hear Sandy on Zoom. So there's an issue with
Oh.
in-house that we might want to address before moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Ellen Boss. Is there any way we can check with IT on those settings?
I'd be happy to reach out to IT, but it won't be an immediate response.
Okay, good. Thank you, Commissioner Ellenboss. We'll move on with discussion, if any, of the minutes from January 6th. Okay. Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from January 6th as written?
Second.
Any objection to doing this by consent? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes unanimously with 1 absent, so 14.
Madam Chair, who is the mover of the motion?
Commissioner Mutchler, seconded by Commissioner Pitts-Jordan.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have some outstanding questions on procedure. And if it becomes a time when Rosemary can speak, just give me a wave and we'll pause for that. Okay, are there any clarifying questions or discussion on the questions of procedure that we had last week? No.
Chair, I apologize. Your script did not get updated, but everyone's agenda did. So next is the calendar item.
I have a different script and then I know that.
I know. Sorry.
That's okay. I've actually got many versions of this script. Okay, cool. Thank you. This one, okay. One's even different. Appreciate all y'all's patience with this. Okay. Oh, yeah. We are going to go now to the memo from Commissioner Morales. We're talking about updating the meeting dates and county locations. Just a minute. Commissioner Morales, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you. Yeah. Can everyone hear me? So I put together just sort of an explanation of this motion since it's so detailed and there's so much to it. I would like to move that we revise our previously approved meeting motion, which calendared 3 months of meetings, such that we instead do the following things. One, set a full 6-month schedule that ensures that county staff support does not have their county council meeting preparations overlapping with our charter commission meeting preparations. This microphone seems to be fuzzy. To ensure that meetings are on 2 different weekdays. So that was a suggestion that Commissioner Ordos had that seemed interesting and might make things more accessible. And then 3, to ensure less conflict with other calendared public meetings. So I've proposed the following schedule. I don't know if I need to read them all out. Staff, I do? Okay, let's go. So I hereby propose that we rescind our prior 3-month schedule and newly adopt the following revised schedule with all meetings to begin at 6:30 p.m. I wrote this before I realized I think we amended it to 6, so someone may want to, that's a friendly amendment that I would absolutely accept. Monday, February 3rd, Tuesday, February 21st, Monday, March 3rd, Tuesday, March 18th. I've placed a tentative hold date in there just in case another extra meeting is needed. Monday, April 7th, Tuesday, April 22nd, Tuesday, May 6th, Monday, May 19th, Monday, June 2nd, Tuesday, June 17th, another tentative hold date there. Tuesday, July 1st, and Tuesday, July 15th, with a bunch of different tentative hold dates in case we are finding that we are needing additional work sessions or meetings. But the bolded dates would be the ones that we were actually officially adopting, not the tentative ones. And I've attached a little calendar on the flip side, so folks can kind of see those dates on the calendar. Yeah.
Chair
yeah.
recognizes Commissioner Collins.
Thank you.
We have to have a second to the motion before I think we have discussion. So I think
Oh, okay. One of your dates is off.
that could totally be possible that one of my dates is off. We may need to have a look at that.
Before we get to that, do we have a second on this motion?
Second.
Commissioner Collins, did you get your comment? Okay. The chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
February 21st, according to my calendar, is on a Friday.
Yeah, Eamon just gave that.
Pardon me?
Eamon just gave me that edit as well. So we should, so the friendly amendment is to correct this from the 21st to the 18th. Sorry about that, y'all.
Okay. Yes, I have several concerns. Well, I'm going to raise the same ones I did last time. First of all, 6 p.m. rather than 6:30 p.m. to get an earlier start because these meetings can go long. Pardon me? Okay, a friendly amendment I'm hoping to. Okay, to move to 6. Is that okay?
That's
And,
totally fine. Yeah.
And then the one other thing I'm going to try to raise here is the times when there are overlaps with Whatcom Democrats functions that several of us have here.
I don't think we should be discussing partisan meetings in this. I think it may even be prohibited. So I don't think that that's.
And by the
I'll
way,
defer to the chair.
and by the way, I'm no longer the chair of Whatcom Democrats, just to be clear.
Any other comments on this motion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright and then Commissioner Stump.
I just wanted to hear from other commissioners because I believe that there's at least one person who will probably be out of the county every Tuesday. So I just was wondering how that felt.
Commissioner Stump, yes, go ahead.
I'm going to try to say it eloquently. I feel like we all
put in for this, we ran for this. You should be able to pick 2 days a month, have them be repeated. There's a reason why the county council doesn't have the meetings one Tuesday, one Monday, one Wednesday, one. They keep a routine, so you can plan for it. The county, the staff knows this is coming. This happens once every 10 years. We all signed up for this. So if we have to miss some of our personal stuff, we have to miss some of our personal stuff. That's how I'm taking it. I would prefer it to be a little more simple because my eyes glassed over when you went down the list about halfway through it, just because I don't have my calendar in front of me without being able to look at it. So I think we should just pick a couple, go the opposite Tuesdays of the county council meeting and go with it. I think we should try to keep it simple. Sorry when I wasn't talking in the mic. Could you hear me?
Early
Sorry.
discipline.
Commissioner Morales.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I appreciate that. And it was something that I think we considered in our last meeting and then ultimately realized we were going to be hopping all over the place anyway, due to holidays and other meetings. And so this schedule seemed to accommodate most of the hops that were needed, and also not in direct conflict with every single Bellingham City Council meeting, which I think is, I don't think that's a wise choice of this commission to do that. And happy to hear more feedback though, but yeah, that's part of the reason they're on different days. Yeah, go ahead.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
So Commissioner Ortis, District 4. One of the things that I appreciate about this motion, Commissioner, is that my concern with the last schedule, although I did support it, was that we have staff that is here, would be here late on a Monday night, late on a Tuesday night, in overtime. I'm not as concerned about the flexibility of our schedule as commissioners. I understand Commissioner Stump's concerns about our dedication and ability to be here, but I would like to make it a little easier on the staff. And as I mentioned in the first meeting, I do appreciate having it on 2 different days of the week to accommodate the people in the community.
Commissioner Collins.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I think if our goal is to elicit as much community feedback as possible, alternating between days of the week, it's going to make it easier for more people to come and talk to us. And I think it definitely makes sense to try not to exhaust the county staff. I'm definitely in favor. Thanks for putting the time into this.
Any further discussion on, Commissioner Pitts? Jordan? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate the commissioner putting this schedule together. I wonder if we might revise the schedule slightly to deconflict with Ferndale City Council meetings, as several of the meetings fall on.
There's no conflict.
Microphone.
Apologies. Excuse me 1 second. Does that not conflict?
I wonder if Commissioner Muchler was going to speak to this. I saw your hand, Commissioner Muchler.
I'll make whatever works, FYI. And sometimes we'll miss a GOP Central Committee meeting. Sometimes we leave a city council meeting early. But it's really important that we're all here, because if you're not here, that's a no vote. That is an automatic, so whatever and we need 10 to change anything. So person's not here, it doesn't count as a hopeful yes, it's a no in terms of the math. So I don't know the answer. I don't know how I'm going to vote. I would like to hear from, are there people that will not be here if it's on a Tuesday night, or will not be here if it's a Monday? I want you here. We need you here. We all need each of us here. So it's a matter of making it work. So.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Chadwick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just agree with Commissioner Stump as far as being consistent on days of the week. I can certainly appreciate the motion to try and alternate days to catch as much of the public as possible. But I think that also, when there's a consistent day of the week, everybody understands that. I think there's a tendency when it switches Mondays and Tuesdays that somebody may show up on a Monday when it's actually on a Tuesday. So again, I think that's why I originally recommended we have our meetings opposite the council meetings on Tuesdays. Those are known meetings for government meetings. I also understand that people have conflicts like Commissioner Redding. That's unfortunate. But again, I think this commission meets every 10 years, and we all ran for this office to serve the citizens of Whatcom County, and we need to make this a priority. We all have jobs. We all have other boards and commitments and families, but we just need to make that work. So I'm not necessarily making a motion to amend at this point, but I think if we look at moving our Mondays to Tuesdays, we alleviate a lot of the conflict that people are bringing up right now. And again, that goes back to what my original proposal was last week. So thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
I want to apologize. I just looked at this tonight. I didn't realize.
Apologize.
My apologies. I hadn't seen this till this evening. I thought we were on second and fourth Mondays, which the other alternating with Tuesdays. If it's on the first and the third Monday, at least it's the first and the third Monday, first Monday of every month you've got here, that is problematic for some of us that are on council.
Would anyone like to make a motion to amend this schedule? As Commissioner Chadwick suggested, Chair recognizes.
I just wanted to respond really quickly so it does jump a little bit. So one of the things I was aiming for was trying to accommodate literally all of our concerns and allow a little bit of jumping so that even people who had conflicts wouldn't get that conflict consistently, but might have it once or twice instead of every single week. And so that's part of why it's not consistently all Tuesdays or consistently all Mondays. And it also didn't conflict with the county council. So I just wanted to let folks know that's why I sort of jumped it around a bit.
Commissioner Redding?
Yes, I'm going to set aside my concerns, but I am going to support what Commissioner Stomp and Commissioner Chadwick said in terms of regularity, in terms of the public knowing, when to expect our meetings here. I think having consistent meetings will be a lot easier for everybody.
Commissioner Chadwick.
All right. Madam Chair, I would make a motion to amend that we move the current Mondays as proposed to Tuesdays so that we would be the first or third Tuesday, and we would alternate with our county council schedule. And we would accommodate not impacting county staff and hopefully have some consistency in the schedule.
Second.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, there's a motion on the table right now that needs to be handled before another motion can be considered.
It was my understanding that we could vote on the amendment and then go back to the original motion. Is that not the case?
Yes, if it's an amendment.
Yes. So the amendment is to change this proposed schedule to the first and third Tuesdays of each month. We have a motion by Commissioner Chadwick and a second by Commissioner Jordan.
So to clarify, it's basically all the Mondays would just be moved to Tuesdays. So we'd only be on Tuesdays, correct?
Correct.
Can we get a voice vote on the amendment, please? All those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay. The amendment to move the proposed motion to the first and third Tuesdays passes 11-2 with one absent. We now need to call the roll unless there's further discussion. Commissioner Wright?
If we move it to Tuesday evenings, I won't be able to come because I have a class on Tuesday evenings.
Okay, I think we need a motion to rescind the previous amended thing. So
I would just say I didn't bring it up because we were agreeing on Mondays before, so it didn't seem to be pertinent.
I'm not sure we can rescind a vote that we just voted. Okay. Are you moving?
I guess I move to rescind the vote we just voted.
Also call that motion to reconsider. Same.
Okay, so we have a motion to reconsider same. Do we have a second? For those of you who look really confused, what we're doing is we're moving to take back that vote we just made because Commissioner Wright won't be able to attend ever.
Amendment doesn't work.
The amendment doesn't work. So we had a motion to reconsider same by Commissioner Wright and a second by Commissioner Jordan. So now we're back to the motion on the table, which is to revise the previously approved meeting schedule to meet on a variety of Mondays and Tuesdays.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, you need to vote on the.
Oh, we have to vote to do the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Okay. We'll do that one by voice as well, since it's not an original motion. All those in favor of rescinding? Oh, sorry. Reconsider same?
You can do a motion.
To rescind the vote, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Was that 4 of y'all down there?
Can you raise your hands, please?
So the motion to rescind passes 8 to 10 to 4 with 1 absent. Excuse me. Just take a minute. Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Yeah, so I'd like to then make a motion to go back to just doing it on Mondays in order.
We
to
still have a
establish
motion on the
with-
table
Pardon?
that we'll need to get back to in a minute. But the chair recognizes Commissioner Ellenboss.
So it's not necessarily for me, but I did talk to Joe Ellenboss earlier tonight, and he communicated to me that he had expressed prior to the beginning of our meetings that Mondays would not work for him, and that wasn't discussed or brought up. So I understand it does work on a Tuesday for Commissioner Wright, but there's other people who have some pretty strict schedule concerns, and I think that should be considered, or at least on record, that he did bring that up. And the other thing is, he didn't know the meeting was tonight. He'd requested his packet information to be mailed, I think, and he wasn't informed until I, by chance, called him this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to get things rolling a little bit with another day, I would make a motion to amend the motion on the floor to shift us to the first and third Thursdays of the month. Unless that does not work.
Somebody have a problem?
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
I'll second it, but I'm asking if somebody has a serious problem with that. But
We'll have
Wednesdays?
Sorry, I didn't use the microphone. I just saw 2 heads shaking that Thursdays were bad, so I don't. Can we possibly use this compromise schedule that has us trying to accommodate everyone? I think we may, I don't know, Jennifer, this schedule as laid out here would also not work for you, is that correct?
One
Sorry,
moment.
Commissioner Wright.
I saw Commissioner Orders' hand. Chair recognizes Commissioner Orders. Go ahead.
I'll defer to Commissioner Wright so she can answer.
Yes, we had agreed previously to Monday nights, so I didn't feel a need to bring it up. But yeah, I have a class required for my job on every Tuesday night.
Commissioner Orders?
Just for a point of discussion, how about the second and fourth Thursdays?
Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
I haven't heard anyone say that the second and fourth Thursday wouldn't work. So do we have a motion on the floor that we need to, can I make a motion to amend this schedule to just do the Tuesday, second Tuesday and second Thursday of each month? And I think, see, there's only like one holiday. No, we won't even, no, there's. Yes, second and fourth Thursday, apologies. I see in June, we have Juneteenth potentially on that day. So if we want to make a change for that, I'll accept the friendly amendment on there. But that is my motion. Motion to amend second and fourth Thursday.
Second.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
I think we're spending an awful lot of time on this, and I'd like to suggest that we stick to what we adopted last time until a further date so that we can move forward. We agreed to 3 months worth last time and saying we could revisit that. And so I'd like to propose that we stick with that for the time being rather than going this endless.
I appreciate that. We need to vote on the amendment to the motion that is on the floor right now. So the amendment is for the second and fourth Thursdays. I'll call of Commissioner Morales.
I just would, by show of hands, can everyone actually do that? Is that,
We can make that a vote by show of hands. All in favor, please raise your hand. Keep your hand up just so we can see.
That's alternating.
Is this a vote?
this is
This
is
a vote
just to
on
get
the
a,
amendment. Anyone opposed to the second and third Thursdays? I'm sorry, second and fourth Thursdays. Wow. I see Commissioner Muchler, Commissioner Wright, and Commissioner Collins, second and fourth Thursday.
Oh, I can do that.
Opposed?
Yeah, okay.
so did someone second your motion?
We're going to have to back up here because I think it's too confusing for staff. So we're going to do that one again. Excuse me for everyone watching, but I want to make sure it's really clear how everyone voted. Would everyone in favor of the second and fourth Thursday? Please.
Was his motion seconded?
It was seconded. Okay. Would everyone in favor of the second and fourth Thursdays at 6 p.m. please indicate that by raising your hand. All opposed? Please indicate that. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We have 2 abstentions, 2 no, 11 yes, and 1 absent.
Can you clarify the abstentions, please, and who seconded the motion?
We have Commissioner Stump and Commissioner Ellenboss. No. Gosh, was it Ordos? And Commissioner Ordos abstaining?
I'll vote no. I just needed some more time to look through the calendar, but
Okay.
we'll decide
Okay.
now.
So we have 1 abstention, Commissioner Stump. We have 3 no votes, Commissioner.
I'll vote no too.
Oh, we have 4. Wow. 4 no votes, Commissioners Stump, Ellenboss, Ordos, and Muchler. We have 10 yes votes, the rest of us, and we have 1 absent, Commissioner Ellenboss Sr.
And could you please clarify who seconded that motion?
Commissioner Jordan. Motion was made by Commissioner Kaltenfeld. Okay. Commissioner Muchler. Yeah, so now we need to move to the main motion as amended.
I just
Oh,
have one
go ahead,
concern.
Commissioner Ellenboss.
So the way that is, the second and the fourth Thursday this month is next week. So that will be 3 weeks consecutively that we are gathering. So
Are you suggesting a friendly amendment? to
I'm
not-
suggesting a friendly amendment
I'll accept a
That
friendly
we-
amendment.
Okay,
that that we would meet again on the 6th, February 6th, right? Or February 13th.
oh, right. The chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
Yeah, this commissioner, we would, will vote no on the main motion and appeal to fellow commissioners to do the same, remembering that we did in a duly and proper way approve of a schedule last month of the Monday meetings, and it's only for 3 months. And so it can be revisited. So I won't be able to attend Wednesday or Thursday meetings. I could do some Tuesday meetings, but as the schedule is right now, there are 5 Ferndale City Council meetings that conflict with the schedule, and that's a rough choice. So I would be voting no, and I think we all should. It's no perfect solution.
Any further discussion? Chair recognizes.
More just a point of clarification as I'm looking at Commissioner Mutchler, are you speaking to other Ferndale meetings that are outside of city council? I'm just trying to get some clarity.
May I answer the question?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So Ferndale City Council meetings are at 5 o'clock, but they usually go till about 7 or 7:30. They are on the first and third Mondays. So I'm counting here 5 of those, usually first, but one of them looks like the third Monday. So
Thank you, Commissioner Mutchler. It's my understanding that we've amended the main motion to the second and fourth Thursday. So that's what we're about to proceed the roll call vote for unless there's further discussion.
No, that's what I needed clarified. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Okay. So I'm going to call a vote on the motion to revise our previously approved meeting schedule, which has been amended to now state the second and fourth Thursday of each month, excepting next Thursday. Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
Just a quick point of clarity here, or clarification. Do we still have the 27th of this month scheduled, that Monday, or are we?
Right now, we're scheduled in the Ferndale Library for the 27th. I would be in favor of keeping that meeting so we don't go a month without a meeting, but I'm interested to hear what others have to say. Commissioner Redding?
Yes, please, since we've gone to the trouble of setting that up, and we also need to maintain enough of a schedule of meetings that we'll hear from enough people in enough places to really do our job.
Can we accept that as a friendly amendment?
We'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
You too?
I will accept that as a friendly amendment, yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're fixing to vote. Yes. Oh, Chair recognizes Commissioner Mutchler.
this is like a souffle, in a sense. I have to admit, not altogether sure of the date. So could somebody run down in consecutive order for all of us, the dates that are being planned and whether they're on Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, or Sunday? So can that be done? Somebody who knows, because I don't.
Commissioner Morales, would you like to take that challenge?
Sure. Let me read through the dates. So we've got a friendly amendment to still hold the 27th of this month, which is a Monday. That meeting, that will be our next meeting. And then in February, we will have on Thursday, the first Thursday is the 13th. So we'll have the 13th. Did I say first? Oh my goodness. Second. The second Thursday and the fourth Thursday are the 13th and the 27th. That's in February. In March, that will be the 13th and the 27th again. Whoa. Second and fourth Thursdays. And then in April, we've got the 10th and the 24th, also the second and fourth Thursdays. In May, we have the 8th and the 22nd. In June, we have the 12th and the 26th. And then in July, that would be the 10th, which is a nice space away from the holiday there, and the 24th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The motion is to revise the previously approved meeting schedule to the second and fourth Thursdays of each month with a friendly amendment to include January 27th already scheduled in Ferndale. Staff, will you please call the roll?
Doug Chadwick,
Yes.
Eamon Collins,
Yes.
Liz Darrow,
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss, Lindsey Graham Ellenboss.
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly,
Yes.
Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Mutchler, Hannah Ordos, Bill Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
No.
Jennifer Wright.
Yes. That motion passes with 12 in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 absent. Thanks, everybody, for your patience on that. Moving on.
Madam Chair, can I say one thing?
Sure.
So we do have the meeting scheduled for Ferndale on the 27th. I wrote down the 5 to 8 p.m. It will not be 5 p.m. It will be 6 p.m. There is a possibility that we can go after the library closes, but we can't guarantee that until the library staff is aware of its availability. So we definitely will start at 6 in Ferndale, and we'll give you more information on that.
Thank you. Moving on, we're going to look at review some outstanding questions on procedure. Are there any clarifying questions or discussion on the procedures that we voted on last meeting? Okay, of particular interest is the tabling versus postponing indefinitely discussion. Okay. As a reminder, under Robert's Rules of Order, tabling means to put a main motion aside for a period of time, to take it off the table, resumes discussion, take it from the table, resumes that discussion. So that's inside out of what a lot of us typically mean. To postpone is to defer the motion to a specific time, and to postpone the motion indefinitely is to decline to take a position. I bring this up because there was some disagreement in our group last time, and I just want to make sure everyone is good with those procedures before we move on. Okay. I'm going to move on. Are we good down there? I can't see you, Commissioner Ellenboss. Okay. Okay. We're going to move on to rolling roll call. So there have been some comments about could we have a rolling roll call? What that means is that the same person isn't obligated to vote the first every time. Thank you, Commissioner Chadwick, for taking that on up until now. The discussion is about whether the staff should start with a different commissioner for each vote so that that same person doesn't have to bear the brunt of that every time. Are there any thoughts on this? The chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
I would support the sentiments. We did that last time, and it was always fun to wonder when you're next. So that probably needs a motion. So I would move that we would adopt the procedure. Is it called rolling motion? A rolling
roll call.
Okay. The rolling roll call to be decided by staff when votes are called.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Sorry, Commissioner Kelly.
Stars at the microphone here.
Oh, the chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
Does rolling mean it'll just be like in alphabetical order? So if Muchler goes, then whoever's next, Commissioner Muchler goes, then whoever's next alphabetically will know they're next? How does it work for you all? Okay.
All my brain can handle. Yes.
Thank you. I me too. All right. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
I just wanted to make sure that that doesn't place undue burden on staff. That's my only question.
We're happy to accommodate that request.
And one point of clarification, when we say rolling, so we've started several votes with Commissioner Chadwick. Does that mean in the next vote, it would be Commissioner Collins and so on down the line?
Correct.
Thank you for clarifying. Seeing no further discussion, I have a motion to adopt a system of a rolling roll call alphabetically per vote. Staff, will you please call the roll?
Fortunately, I have to start with Mr. Chadwick again. Doug Chadwick,
Yes.
Damian Collins, Liz Darrow,
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss is absent, Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly, Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Muchler,
Yes.
Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Bill Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
Yes.
Jennifer Wright.
Yes. That motion passes 14-0 with one absent. Okay. Are there any other items from commissioners regarding parliamentary procedure? Chair recognizes Commissioner Collins.
I just wanted to make a comment. I know, you know, the voting that we just went through on deciding the schedule felt tedious, to be sure. And last time, I think there were some people that were upset about the messiness of trying to make rules about how we make rules when we don't have any rules for how to do that. We're for the scheduling. I mean, we're not allowed to talk together and work out our schedules outside of this. So this is the only way to do it, and we're going to spend something like 30 plus hours together. So having spent a half an hour on that doesn't feel like a big waste of time to me. And I just want to say I think we all together. I'm happy with the progress we're making, and I think we're going to be able to work well together. And thank you, Chair Darrow, for running these meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Appreciate that. Okay, and just as a reminder, we can bring amendments from the commission to our procedures at any time. So this is not your last chance to do that. Just wanted to give space for it if needed. Okay, so at our last meeting, we had postponed the discussion of election of additional commission officers. And so at this time, I'd like to ask if anyone wants to make a motion regarding additional officers. Currently, we have a chair and a vice chair. The chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
I was wondering if we might like to have a parliamentarian, and I was going to nominate Joel Fitzjordan, if so.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for parliamentarian? Or discussion about what that means? Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
Yeah, I don't believe we had a parliamentarian last time. I'm practically swallowing it. How's that, Ray? We didn't have a parliamentarian last time because we had 15 of them. And I don't know, the person that was nominated might share their qualifications and skills and background experience. And Roberts, I might be persuaded, but short of that, you have 15 of them up here. And city council meetings, it's a council member that will raise a point of order, and we can do the same thing here. So I'm not sure if it's needed, but if it is needed, I'd like to hear the qualifications of the person nominated.
Further discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the discussion and appreciate the questions. For my personal qualifications, while employed for the state of Washington, I've spent the last several years while not interacting directly with Robert's rules, interacting mostly with Reed's rules, but observing several procedures, hundreds of unfortunately tedious procedures with the state legislature committees and Senate floor activity, as well as the House floor activity. So very familiar with the procedures of motion amendments and being able to study up on the rules of procedure, very short time frame.
Thank you. Any other questions or, oh, go ahead, Commissioner Stump.
Hey, I was just wondering, do we need to vote if we need a parliamentarian first before we elect one? Because isn't it an optional seat?
That's an excellent question, and I think you have a really good point. I think I might have skipped ahead a bit. So perhaps we can have a motion to elect a parliamentarian if a commissioner so moves.
I thought that's what I was suggesting, and then just tagging on the end that if we decided that's what we wanted to do, I had someone in mind, but maybe I wasn't allowed to say that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we got to go back to the basics. Thank you, Commissioner Stump. So we have a motion to elect a parliamentarian. Commissioner Morales, do you want to hold your second, or do you want me to remove that? No, we're just restating for clarity. Okay.
Yeah, could I ask for a little clarity on what exactly the power of the parliamentarian is? I mean, you're like as far as making rulings as to whether an amendment is germane, or yeah, I guess what is the what are the commissioner's powers to then accept or reject your ruling?
Commissioner Wright.
So my understanding, just from other meetings I've been in where they use Robert's rules or other rules, is it's a person to be paying attention to whether we're in order or out of order with respect to the rules. And if they think we might be out of order with respect to the rules, we know we have somebody like thinking about it and then they speak up. If we have something to be allowed or disallowed, that's where we turn to our legal counsel. But this person is to bring it up and say, feel like we're out of order. Yes.
Commissioner Muchler.
Yeah, traditionally under Roberts, the chair decides matters of rules if the rules are challenged by a member of the body that might raise an objection. The chair has the power and authority to say that the challenge is correct or incorrect. The body itself could overrule the chair with a majority vote. But I think that it diminishes the role of the chair, and I don't want to do that. And it also lets 15 of us off the hook to follow carefully what's going on up here. And I don't want to do that either. So I would be voting against adding a parliamentarian. I just don't think it's needed. And actually, I think it's a detriment to what we're doing here.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Chadwick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just echo what Commissioner Muchler said. I think while it's great that somebody's willing to be watching, it's really incumbent upon all of us to be monitoring and making sure that we're following Robert's Rules of Order. And if we see something out of order, that we call it, and then it's up to the chair. And if we get ourselves in real legal trouble, we'll be looking at Mr. Coister. But I will be voting no on that at this point. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
I wanted to say, I hear those arguments, and I appreciate especially the assertion that there's a desire to empower our chair more. I honestly could really go either way. I mean, I seconded, but I'm okay either way. And I would love to just kind of go along with what the consensus wants. I think that is more important, that we all feel good about what we decide here. So,
Commissioner Wright.
I'm right there with you. I don't necessarily believe we need a parliamentarian. That's why I asked the question. Do we want this? And if we do, I have an idea. But if we don't, that's completely fine with me.
Commissioner Muchler.
Because I've done this for a long time at council and mayor level. At this point, if we approve a parliamentarian, and if I have a concern as a regular member, who do I appeal to, the parliamentarian or to the chair? And so that's a bit confusing to me as well. So don't think it's necessary, and I think it's fraught with confusion.
Any other thoughts on this before we go to a vote? Commissioner Redding?
Yeah, I'm going to vote no, just in the interest of keeping things simple here. I don't want to have multiplying. I'm going to vote no in the interest of keeping things as simple as possible and of empowering the chair.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
No, I appreciate the discussion because I could go either way, but I don't think I'll be supporting this motion at this time. But now we know who on the commission really knows their parliamentarian rules. So we know now.
Seeing no further discussion, I'm going to call for a vote.
Eamon Collins,
No.
Liz Darrow,
No.
Joe Ellenboss is absent. Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
No.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
No.
Brad Kelly,
No.
Maya Morales,
no.
John Muchler,
No.
Hannah Ordos,
No.
Joel Pitts Jordan,
No.
Andrew Redding,
No.
Jessica Rienstra,
No.
Rod Stump, Jennifer Wright.
No. We have a 14 no, 0 yes, with 1 absent vote on that motion. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Oh, why we just trying to? We read right past you, Commissioner.
So it's been deleted. But it's no.
Apologies, Commissioner Chadwick. Okey doke. That is actually 14 now. Okay. In terms of other officers, would any commissioner like to suggest that we elect any other officers at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to move on to the review of amendment procedure. As a reminder, we took the item where we can propose amendments. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Ordos.
We have point 13 that I think we skipped on department head presentations.
Oh, good grief. Thank you, Commissioner Ordos, for helping me keep it all straight. You are correct. Okay. So last week we talked about hearing from department heads. It would be helpful for staff to know who and when and how. So for example, do you want to address specific questions to department heads before they're invited? Does the group want to agree on specific officials we want to hear from? If we get a request from an elected official to discuss items, should staff automatically schedule them? So these are some things that are, some questions that are coming up around department head presentations. I'd like to open the discussion to consider. And just so you know, so far, staff has received requests for auditor, finance director, health department director, and received requests to present from the treasurer and the prosecutor. Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
Yeah, I thought about this, and I think it would be nice and helpful, is a better word, if we had a written, I want to say report, I want to say appeal, whatever their concerns are ahead of time, that it would be in a written form that we would be able to look at it, and then certainly afterwards invite them that. I don't want them attending a meeting cold and not knowing what their concerns are ahead of time. So that would be my only request. And I'd love to hear from staff, because this is business that concerns them and their livelihoods and things like that. So, but it'd be nice if there is a brief written report to us before we chose to have them attend a meeting for our oral presentation. We have time to do that.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
Okay, I'll go ahead. So I just wanted to mention that that's a great idea. I spoke with our auditor after our first meeting and just asked a bunch of questions. And one of the requests was, could you all as a commission give me a memo with all of your questions before I come to speak with you? And so I think that request is coming from both sides. So.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Would a motion be appropriate to signal what Commissioner Muchler was suggesting, that we ask in these cases for what it is they want to come to speak with us about before we make a decision one way or the other, because we have limited time. And so this would allow us to assess whether it's something of the kind of magnitude that we would want to have a presentation on.
Is that a motion?
It's a motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, can you restate the motion?
The motion is to ask any department heads or elected officials who want us to consider something to actually put in writing what it is they're wanting to talk to us about or wanting to have us consider, so we have some way of evaluating that as a way of making a decision.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on this topic? Chair recognizes Commissioner Kelly.
Kelly, District 4. I just want to state that when we received the letter from the prosecuting attorney, Eric Ritchie, I just really appreciated being to kind of reading through that and kind of mulling it over. So I would agree with this motion.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Definitely asking for a yes vote on this particular motion, and also signaling a hope that we will come back as well to discuss a procedure for specific topics that the Charter Review Commission would like to hear from specific directors and department heads about.
That actually was going to be my substitute motion.
Oh, do we have a substitute motion?
Yeah, just to amend that motion to include as well that the charter may request, if there's I don't know if that involves creating a working group to do that, or if that is a full commission effort, but may request things of department heads or other county staff, laying out specifically what our questions are and that kind of thing, so that this goes both ways.
Hey, Madam Chair, could I ask that that be two motions?
I'm so sorry, that's very long.
I hear staff saying that's two separate
The
motions.
first
that-
motion and then this motion. Does that make sense?
Excuse me, but
Okay, the chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
I'm sorry. I just think we should allow for accepting friendly amendments, so we don't have to have repeated votes when there isn't a necessity to do that. It's a very commonly done thing with the county council and other places, I believe, in parliamentary procedure, and it would simplify our proceedings.
So Commissioner Chadwick, did you still have input?
Right, going back to the original discussion about getting information from electeds, I would just ask this body, and when we, our staff, when we're going out to say Ferndale, that we invite the mayor of Ferndale to do the same thing. A lot of the charter talks about intergovernmental relations and how the executive's office is to function. That includes how the executive functions with other jurisdictions throughout Whatcom County. So I would ask that that be extended to them as well, and they be invited, if, like I said, if we're in Ferndale, that the mayor be invited to appear.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos. Okay. Okay, point of clarification from.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I just wanted to, a point of clarification was not that we, that this invitation be extended sort of broadly, but that it was a pointed invitation when the Charter Commission felt that it wanted to ask particular questions that related to amendments. That was my.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
You and I would speak against the amendment as creating, it's not necessary, and it makes it rather, and rather instead, I would suggest passing the clean motion that was made, and then each of us individually, if we have questions of staff, council members over that we think are germane to our commission, that we can individually write to the treasurer, or write to the assessor, write to the auditor and say, we kind of wonder about this on the commission. Would you address that when you appear? And I think that's more efficient. It engages all of us more. And I think the main motion is clean, simple, and gets the job done. And why muck it up?
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
I'll return to the original motion I made. The clean motion.
Okay.
I might have to actually withdraw my amendment for that to happen because I motioned
this
it.
yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will just go ahead and withdraw my motion to substitute, and we're back to the original.
Commissioner Reinstra, I cannot see you. Do you have anything to add to this? No? Okay, cool.
Can you restate the original motion?
Yes, the motion is to ask any department heads or elected officials who want us to consider something, that they put it in writing to us first. Commissioner Stump.
I kind of feel like this could hinder somebody, if somebody wants to come and talk to at the meeting versus putting it in writing. I don't know. It just feels like it's just one more rule that doesn't need to be in place. I think most of the department heads will send emails. I feel like we're kind of wasting our time on this, and this is not necessary. The district attorney, prosecuting attorney sent one on his own accord. I think the department heads are professional people. They'll send emails. I just feel like we're making more rules that are kind of silly.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
The prosecuting attorney provided the example. I think that is the cleanest and most efficient way for us to handle their concerns. And so I think it's the right way to go. I hope we go it that way.
With Commissioner Redding's permission, I'd like to offer just a 2-word friendly amendment that we ask any department heads or elected officials who want us to consider a charter amendment that they put it in writing. Is that more clear?
Yep.
To recognize Commissioner Wright.
My understanding was that it would be in advance, like what I understood from Commissioner Muchler was this would be in advance of us deciding whether we want to make the time in the schedule or not, correct?
Got it.
Okay.
Does adding the words in advance at the end satisfy that? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to vote now on a motion to ask any department heads or elected officials who want us to consider a charter amendment that they put it in writing in advance. Ms. Smith, will you please call the roll?
Liz Darrow.
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss is absent. Lindsey Graham Ellenboss.
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld.
Yes.
Brad Kelly.
Yes.
Maya Morales.
Yes.
John Muchler.
Yes.
Hannah Ordos.
Yes.
Joel Pitts Jordan.
Yes.
Andrew Redding.
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra.
Yes.
Rod Stump.
Yes.
Jennifer Wright.
Yes.
Doug Chadwick.
Yes.
Eamon Collins.
That motion passes 14-0 with 1 absent.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make one clarification. What is this body's preference if a department head or elected official writes a memo like Prosecutor Ritchie's, does not necessarily need to come in, does not request to come in and speak, but is happy to stand behind the memo? Will that be acceptable to the commission?
Of course.
Great.
Seeing a lot of head nods.
Thank you.
Yes. On that same topic, just to note a couple more questions. If a proposed amendment would clearly impact a specific office, does this commission think that staff should automatically reach out to that director for comment, for example, the auditor, or wait for direction from this commission?
They'll know. They'll know.
Can you be more specific, Commissioner Muchler, about they'll know?
I said they will know.
What will they know? I'm sorry, I'm unclear.
If we are debating an amendment that would affect their work or their livelihood or their duties or how they get there, they will learn rather quickly. I'm certain of that.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I might suggest that if an amendment is brought forward that affects a particular department head, that staff just simply notify via email department head of that amendment.
Do we need a motion on that? It seems like a matter of procedure for staff. Are you willing to reach out to department heads should that issue come up?
Yes.
Great. And then in terms of non-commissioner amendment requests that come to staff from county elected officials or department heads, like the one we received from Prosecutor Ritchie. So this is kind of that same question that they just provide it in writing, right? Is everybody good with that?
Well, they provide it in writing, and then a commissioner has to decide to bring it forward.
Right. And we decided that at our last meeting. So thank you for clarifying that, Commissioner Ellenboss. Any other discussion on this issue? Commissioner Jordan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I might, I guess a question for clarification is whether or not we need a motion to establish a procedure by which we might ask for a specific presentation on a topic that ranges multiple departments or multiple department heads, and whether or not that would need a motion or.
Can you provide an example for clarity, please?
In particular, thinking about financial administration, which has an impact on the finance department, as well as the executive's office and council. Is this the appropriate place on the agenda to bring forward those agenda items for future meetings?
Yes, I think it's germane to the discussion. I just want to make sure everyone knows what you're talking about. Could you state it in motion form and maybe that would clarify it? Or are you not ready for that? That's okay.
Hi.
I think the question is, Mr. Kaltenfeld, go ahead.
Please continue, Madam Chair. I'll jump in. right
Oh,
after.
I think the question was in an instance where we need presentations like a work session from multiple department heads, what is the process for that? Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes, that
Okay.
is the question.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Thank you. I was actually just about to make a motion with the start of what might be some language on that. So I do agree that it's important for us to be able to invite folks, and I think that it's important for us to be able to articulate what questions we want to ask them ahead of time, just so that they're coming in prepared. So with that, I would like to make a motion that we include procedures that with a simple majority vote of this commission, we can invite a county staff member or elected official to provide us a presentation at a time that we determine that works best. And that as part of that, we would submit a letter to that official with specific questions or concerns that we would like them to present on, either determined at that meeting or in a subsequent work group, whatever we decide at the time. Hope that was clear. Happy to restate that.
Would second that motion. If
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on this item? I was writing just as fast as I could, Commissioner Kaltenfeld. So the motion is that the commission can invite a staff member, department head, or an elected official by majority vote and in writing. And we will send our questions in advance in writing.
Correct.
Okay. In a memo altogether. Thank you. The chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
What if they don't want to come?
Well, that's rude. I don't know. Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
appreciate the discussion, Commissioner Muchler, and I would clarify as well that any work sessions would be an invitation, not necessarily anything else.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Collins.
I would move to amend the motion to include, in addition to what staff members, elected officials, just I don't know, or any other individual with expertise we want to hear from. I mean, I don't think it would preclude us from doing that anyway. But there might be people with expertise on a particular topic who do not work for the government currently.
That is a great point. I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
One second, Commissioner Muchler. We have not heard from this side of the room in quite some time. Do any of y'all have anything you want to throw in here?
I'm just waiting for a restate of the question here, so it's clear.
Oh, okay. I did see Commissioner Muchler. Did you have something to weigh in?
We need to be cautious if we're asking staff members who work under department heads of their time without the authorization of those department heads. So I don't have a problem with department heads, elected officials, et cetera, but I would discourage us from, inviting someone who's a staff member. Maybe they're in charge of wastewater or something like that, but they are still working under a department head, public works director, for example. So we just can't willy-nilly grab people to come talk to us.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Thank you, Commissioner Muchler. I appreciate that. The spirit of my question was that we would only do department heads, so I'm happy to accept amend my motion if necessary to strike staff and just include department heads. I don't see a scenario where we would want to call an individual staff member, but I'm happy to get feedback on that from other members of the commission.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Collins.
Yeah, I think if there was I guess I'm not familiar with the entire every staff member who works for the county, but I could see somebody who isn't a department head who has a particular area of expertise. I think if it was uncomfortable for them, or for some reason they didn't want to come speak, I think wouldn't their boss just tell them not to? I mean, we're not a body with subpoena power, so I think they just wouldn't come, and we would know that the decision didn't necessarily come from them, but from their boss.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
I would agree that we don't want to go to staff directly and request that they show up, but I do know that probably some department heads would want expertise within their departments, maybe to come on their behalf based on the questions that we submit. So I would prefer we not get so tight in this motion that it doesn't leave us flexibility, or we'll be discussing the flexibility at a later time.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wondering if the sponsor of the motion might be acceptable or amenable to an amendment to simply state that departments and not necessarily department heads. That way it leaves it open for staff with particular experience to present as long as it's going through the department head.
I'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
I saw Commissioner Morales.
Sorry, yes. So I'm a little confused because I thought that Commissioner Collins actually introduced a friendly amendment to include other kinds of experts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm definitely supportive of that. We may have other kinds of folks we would like to call in depending on the issue. And I wanted to, just for the sake of the whole commission, basically say that this is just an independent standing motion of what I tried to amend Andrews. It's essentially, let's put it in writing. That's all it is. So that we actually give notice in writing as well on the flip side.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
I would just like to agree with Commissioner Ordos and Morales. I think leaving it open and not closing it is a good thing. And I think the spirit for me is giving notice in advance. We send our questions together in a memo in advance, an invitation, and then whoever we invite, hopefully they'll come if they so choose.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Yeah, for the sake of making sure we're all on the same page, can you reread where the motion is at right now?
Yes, thank you. We have a motion on the floor that the commission can invite a department or elected official or any other expert on a particular subject by a majority vote, and will send questions in advance by memo.
By saying that, we're giving the questions ahead. That doesn't exclude additional questions that come up during that presentation. So more so, we're giving them a topic of what we're looking for.
Agree. Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
Just quick clarification. So if someone was to come up, so a department head was to show up at a commission, a charter commission meeting, then they would be kind of curtailed to that 3 minute of public comment. Is that how we would treat that if they came without invitation? So I'm just curious, like if the mayor was a mayor came in or an elected official.
I saw Commissioner Collins.
Yeah, I think this is sort of our preferred procedure. But I mean, if somebody showed up, I think we could always just it would take some action by this body. But yeah, I think we could recognize them for as long as we wanted.
Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Or rescind.
Okay. Commissioner Muchler.
I do support this, but my question is a process question. So if this passes, then do we start emailing requests to our clerk or to the body, or do we have a chunk of time? What's the process? So each of us here, I'd like to invite so-and-so. What's the process then?
So this is by majority
from the
vote,
body?
as the motion currently states. So I would think that it would need to come before the body for a majority vote in order to move forward. That's my understanding.
So it would be said to Kristen, help me out here.
Kirsten.
And then that's really the process. We like to see something happen. She receives it, it gets on the agenda, and then we vote on it. A majority would then initiate a letter, right? I think.
I just wanted to clarify. I think also there was a possibility of if the commission decides to form a work group that produces that, that's also okay. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright. Oh, I thought you had your hand up. Just to clarify, I'm hearing that there's a value in here that the entire commission decides together what goes on the next agenda. Do I have that correct? Okay. Everybody good? We're ready for vote? Okay. The motion is that the commission can invite a department or elected official or any other expert on a particular subject by a majority vote, and will send questions in advance by memo. Staff, will you please call the roll?
Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly,
Yes.
Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Mutchler,
Yes.
Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Joel Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
Yes.
Jennifer Wright,
Yes.
Doug Chadwick,
Yes.
Eamon Collins,
Yes.
Liz Darrow, Joe Ellenboss is absent.
That motion passes 14-0 with one absent. Let's see. I got lost. Okay, before we go to the review of amendment procedure, I want to check in with Commissioner Jordan that your question was sufficiently answered about potential work sessions and that kind of thing.
I believe so. If we had a work session in mind, would this be the appropriate place to motion for that, or should we wait until amended item 15 on additional items from commissioners?
I think that goes under amended item 15 if it's not a process related question. Is that okay?
That is perfect. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay, so under new business, the review of amendment procedure. So this is the procedure that we agreed on last week. Any commissioner may propose amendments to the charter with a simple majority vote required to move the proposed amendment onto the subsequent meeting agenda for consideration. Do we have any, and want to recognize that Commissioner Ellenboss requested that we don't do this for the next meeting. And so this agenda item is a little bit clumsy. I guess the question is about process. Should new proposals be listed on the agenda under new business? Do we want to allow each other to bring up our own amendments before it appears on the agenda? I think it's just about tightening up that process before we go into rapid fire proposing amendments. Do we want to be able to do that by email? And so I'd just like some clarification from the commission on that process, if that sounds good the way it's written, or if there are any other preferences when it comes to proposing amendments to the charter itself. The chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Yeah, I'm wondering about whether we couldn't have these things first sent out by email before a meeting to request being on the agenda for that. Is that what you had in mind as to?
That is, yes, thank you. I was just thinking, do we want to have the proposals as Commissioner Mutchler last time made some proposals that were in a draft and then they came out of the draft. And so I'm just wondering do we want to have them in front of us before we consider whether to put them on the agenda or not? Does that make sense?
Yes, so kind of like what the prosecutor did, that we would submit something that would actually show what the amendment would be, right? With a rationale for it. And so people would get that in their packet and it would be noticed to the public beforehand. And so by the time it would come up in before us, it would have had all kinds of public notice.
I'm hearing, no? Okay. Chair recognizes Commissioner Chadwick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just agree that I think if any of us wants to propose something, it needs to be emailed to the commission as a whole with your rationale and supporting justification to give everybody a opportunity to review that before it comes to this body and is added to the agenda. And then we can have that discussion, decide if we want to move it forward.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
Just a quick question around like the procedure of that. Do we need to set a deadline of number of days in advance for staff to, be able to send that out? Do we need to kind of have a little bit more procedure built into this?
I would say it depends on the procedure you want to follow. If you're sending a proposed amendment to me and I send it out to the commission and not putting it on the agenda until we vote to add it to the next agenda, there's no timeline other than before the agenda goes out.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
So let me make a motion because I think this is too slow a procedure. What I'm proposing here is that it would be submitted as Commissioner, sorry, I'm blanking now. As Commissioner Chadwick suggested, that there would be a complete proposal with the actual sections of the charter with cross-outs and add-ins and so forth, and with a rationale that would be sent to the entire, by email, to the entire commission, and that would automatically place it on the agenda to be considered for this number 14 procedure here, where you vote on whether to bring it forth at that point, but that can all be done through that email. But we would need to know what is the deadline for the agenda for any meeting. How do we know that deadline?
Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
A question for council on that particular procedure, and just wondering the interaction between that and the Open Public Meetings Act. It's my understanding that sending an email to the entire commission as any one commissioner would trigger that act.
So I think the safest procedure there would be to send it to Kirsten with full text of your proposal to be included with the packet that goes out to all of you before the meeting. As long as none of you on receipt of that packet hit the reply all button and start chatting with the rest of you, you should be fine as far as open public meeting goes. But I would do it through Kirsten to have that conduit.
Thank you. I will modify my motion accordingly. And I still need to know what the deadline is for submission. I'm asking staff.
We're trying to figure out the schedule that you proposed. The Open Public Meetings Law requires agendas to go out 24 hours in advance, be made public 24 hours in advance. After that point, you can change it, but it must go out within 24 hours. The council agenda goes out 5 days in advance, but that's county policy. So I'm happy to. I'm happy to, if you want something different, I mean, now that we have 2 weeks between meetings, I'm going to aim for 5 days. And I'm happy to send that out like a schedule, explain what the deadlines are.
Okay, so I'll incorporate that in my motion as well, but by 5 days before the scheduled meeting.
Go ahead, Commissioner Wright.
They might need 6 days if they're going to see it to have time to put it into the agenda. I don't know. We'd have to ask staff what they need. I love the idea of getting our agendas 5 days in advance. We have time to consider it. So yes, please. And then do you need it? Like, what if somebody sent it to you at 4 o'clock on that day? You know, we need to know how far would you prefer it in advance to make sure it gets to you. And then also I just want to clarify, my understanding from council was it's best if it's sent to you and you send it out to us. And if someone was to like send it out without the reply all option, like BCC everyone, then it probably doesn't violate OPMA. But the best thing is to go through Kirsten. Is that what you were saying? I just wasn't sure.
That's correct. That's what I was saying. The key point here is that it's a meeting if you undertake any action, and that's defined as discussion. So as long as you're just receiving information, that's not going to be considered a meeting. But once you start discussing it, that's what makes the meeting. So sending it through a conduit just adds an extra layer of safety to make sure you don't accidentally start a discussion.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
You don't need to do this, but I really would recommend that you send amendments to Mr. Koistra. Am I saying that correctly?
Koistra or Kustra?
Koistra. I apologize.
My family's always said Kustra, but if you're in Linden, they'll tell you pronounce it wrong. So
You're a good sport. Thank you. And Ms. Smith, I've already done that, and they will tell you I've done that, and they have provided some amazing help and cautions and me in directions I hadn't thought of before. Having said that, they still work for us, and you can bring anything you want to the commission, but I would take advantage of their resource. They have saved you a ton of time in correcting some of the things I've brought to them in an appropriate way that's makes things consistent with RCW, things like that. And they provide good reasons for it. So you will save a lot of heartache if you send them to our attorney and to our clerk.
Recognizes Commissioner Coltonfeld.
Yeah, Commissioner Muchler, thank you for that comment. Great advice. I wanted to go back briefly to this 5 days. I think that's a very reasonable time. I just want to confirm that is that 5 days total or 5 business days?
So commissioners, I'm going to suggest that we don't need a motion on the exact deadline. Staff is going to take some time to figure it out. This is only our second week of dealing with these procedures. So we'll take a look at it and I'll just notify you by email very specifically, because there's also a question of weekdays versus weekends. And it'll be helpful if we have that time, and I'll let you know. Thanks. I appreciate your patience.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Yeah, so for clarification, we would send it to both you and to the attorney.
That is a wise choice. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Alabas.
Can we restate where we are with this motion clearly so we can maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
Did you have something?
Yeah.
to that? Okay, so the motion I have right now on the floor is charter amendment proposals will be submitted from a commissioner by email to staff, which will place it on the agenda under proposed amendments for consideration to be placed on the following meeting's agenda for discussion and vote.
And it also includes that it will include the actual text and a rationale, so that similar to what the prosecutor did, so that all of that is in everybody's packet and they get that 5 days ahead of time. They have plenty of time to review it before the meeting.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just hoping for some clarification. I don't know if this needs to go into the motion, but on that particular procedure, wondering if it would be helpful to include a specific wording in the subject line that we are officially submitting an amendment for consideration in front of the commission.
Not required. I'm good at checking email.
Okay, so I've got a motion on the floor. The charter amendment proposals will be submitted from a commissioner by email to staff, which will place it on the agenda for consideration under proposed amendments to be placed on the following meeting's agenda for discussion and vote. Proposals will include the text of the amendment and, I lost you, Commissioner Redding. Can you, text of the amendment and rationale?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is there more to it?
What are you asking me?
Oh, I was just asking you if I had that motion correct.
Yes, you have that correct.
Okay.
As far as I know, yeah.
Yes.
I know this is process and it's a little bit annoying, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable adopting this motion without having a clear time period, because we're in the work now and we've got a meeting on the 27th, and I think it'd be good if we could at least settle on a provisional number of days at this point or something. I'd be more comfortable if we set some timing while we're doing this.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
I hear that, wanting a precise date. I think that staff had said they'll let us know like soon, because they're going to look at their schedule now that they know our schedule and tell us like in the next few days when that would be. I think I understood that properly. So I don't know if we need to set a date. I think they were saying they could look at that and do that if I understood correctly.
Do we have further discussion on this motion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Stump.
If we don't make the 5-day, it'll just be on the next meeting, correct? It'll be on the next agenda.
I apologize. I missed the first part of what you said.
If we don't make the date, the 5-day lead time that you want ahead of the meeting, it'll just move to the next meeting, right? Correct?
Yes.
So I really, if we're late breakers and we don't make the list, we don't make the list.
Any further discussion before we go to a vote? We have a motion that charter amendment proposals will be submitted from a commissioner by email to staff, which will place it on the agenda for consideration to be placed on the following meeting's agenda for discussion and vote. Proposals will include the text of the amendment and rationale. And I'm sorry, I lost track of who seconded this motion. Does anyone remember?
I don't think anybody did.
Oh, good grief. I'll second. Thank you. Are we ready to vote? Okay. Ms. Smith, please call the roll.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly,
Yes.
Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Mutchler,
Yes.
Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Joel Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump, Jennifer Wright,
Yes.
Doug Chadwick,
Yes.
Eamon Collins,
Yes.
Liz Darrow,
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss, Lindsey Graham Ellenboss.
Yes.
That motion passes with a vote of 15-0. I'd like to invite Commissioner Ellenboss up if you want to join us up here. We saved you a seat. Anyway, okay. Oh, Commissioner Ellenboss, we'd be pleased for you to join us if you'd like. We saved you a seat.
Honestly, in 6 different times having done this, I have never been crammed into 1/3 of the space, 15-member body, of what the 7-member council puts between themselves and the audience.
Understood. We'll move on. Thank you.
I don't wish to try and cram myself in, so I can hear from myself.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. We'll move on. The final item on our agenda is additional items from commissioners. Are there any other items of business for the commission? Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank,
You see, let the record show that I didn't get a call for this meeting because I've asked for the material to be supplied me, and it has not.
Kathy, I've got an agenda right here if you wouldn't mind while you're heading over there to share this with Commissioner Ellenboss. Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interest of additional items, I would move that we place on the calendar for January 27th, our next meeting, some time to hold a work session on ranked choice voting, in which we would hear from the county auditor and get particular information on any implementation considerations they may have for any potential amendment to that end.
Okay, we have a motion to place on the calendar for January 27th, a work session on ranked choice voting, including a presentation from the auditor. Did I get that right?
That is correct. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, one thing to be aware of is that we will not be in this space on the 27th. We can ask her to come to Ferndale. We can ask her to participate via Zoom. I can't guarantee it's going to go well. Just one thing to be aware of.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
One of the things that I would ask with that as we accumulate our questions for the auditor would be fiscal impact. And if the auditor is not the individual to do that, then to identify another individual to participate.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Mutchler.
Thank you, Chair. I would speak against the motion because it appears to, and I'm not speaking for or against the idea, but we're taking one item that I'm going to assume could be an amendment and we're treating it separately and differently than other ones. And the idea of having a presentation may be appropriate, but it should come after we've had a motion for the proposed amendment regarding ranked choice voting. This seems out of order, what we've already done tonight.
Okay. Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Mutchler. I appreciate the sentiment there. I wonder if we can make this more of a general invitation to the auditor to answer various questions, and the fiscal impact of ranked choice voting might be one of the things that we talk about. But I think there's a number of issues that this commission might be interested in asking that might not be directly related to that. So I would be curious if Commissioner Jordan would accept a friendly amendment to invite the auditor to present. Oh, wait.
I saw Commissioner Collins. Do you still have? Go ahead.
Yeah, Commissioner Mutchler, maybe you can clarify for me. Wouldn't we, I think I might not understand your objection. Wouldn't we want to hear from from some knowledgeable folks with on a lot of different issues before we wrote the amendment we're proposing?
Can I speak? You're talking about a process. We just adopted a process whereby council members submit amendment proposals. And then we are going to vote with a simple majority that moves it on. That's the point at which you're bringing guest speakers on any number of subjects. This is entirely out of order what we've just done here. And really not necessary. We've got 6 months. And so let's say somebody immediately makes the proposal to ask the voters of Whatcom County to adopt ranked choice voting. That would occur. The next meeting would be a meeting to ask whether we want to even have a discussion on it. So it'll be 2 meetings from now. And that at that point, we could certainly invite guest speakers to speak on the subject. This is not the time to do this. I just think this is inappropriate from what we've done already tonight.
Commissioner Morales, did I see your hand? Hi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to actually just propose I think a friendly amendment, which is to ask the auditor to come either on that date or the following, just depending on location and stuff. So totally just a friendly amendment.
That's a go. Chair recognizes Commissioner Kelly.
Kelly, District 4. So just to get some clarification, you were talking about a work session? And is that separate from the meeting or part of the meeting?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Part of the meeting, just to clarify as well, just fact-finding, gathering information, due to the fact that this is a complex topic, that amendment could take multiple forms. Just wanting to gather as much information as possible before diving into any kind of specifics on it.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Chadwick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, I know on agenda item 13, we already talked about the auditor had been invited to presentations. I'm curious what they were invited to present on already at this point. Is that?
The auditor was not invited. These were just names of officials that I heard from other commissioners that they wanted to invite eventually.
Okay, thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Yeah, on this one, I'm going to have to support Commissioner Muchler because I think as a matter of process, he is absolutely correct that we first have to have decided that we're going to be addressing an issue, and that's what happens by this consideration that's mentioned here. So you bring something up with a proposal, it comes up at a meeting, you vote on whether you want to consider it, and then you invite people to look at all the considerations that are involved. And I want to also caution, because I'm speaking as somebody who supports ranked choice voting, so just don't misunderstand me here. It's a matter of procedure, and I just don't want to see a situation. If we're treating this in one way, we've got to treat every other proposal in the same way. And so we could have all kinds of asks for things that where we've not indicated we're actually going to go forward with something.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm hearing that and also hearing Commissioner Muchler's concern about process. However, I also, we have discussed the types of visitors we may invite, that we may give them a memo, that kind of thing. So I think that this, it does make sense for this body, which is the Charter Commission, and we know that our charter governs elections. It does seem like an obvious department head to invite and ask some questions. It also seems like an obvious person to invite in advance with a memo and a list of questions. And so it may be that what we need is an amended motion to form a small working group to gather questions. Would that be, I don't know if that's a friendly amendment. Maybe that's just a whole new motion.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
Don't know if I have my thoughts fully clarified to myself, but I'll try. So I hear Commissioner Muchler's concern, and I agree about like once we've embarked on a process, sticking to what you're proposing, that like it's in that order. And I also hear what Commissioner Redding is saying about wanting to make sure that we've agreed to explore something. I do wonder if it is like where we have general questions is it out of order? Some people are saying that they feel it is and others do not. So I think it's kind of two separate things. Like, yes, if we've agreed we're going to address a particular issue, then Commissioner Muchler 100% is correct. And if we haven't and we want to like explore whether we even want to bring something forward, what do we do then? That's my question.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Coltonfeld.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I think we all are kind of agreeing on the same thing, but like in just different ways. I think it's totally appropriate to call a department head like the auditor to explore the questions and thoughts we have in preparation of preparing language that would eventually be an amendment, right? We need to actually understand what's wrong before we can draft amendments. But I also think it's certainly fair and possible that we could invite those same people back once we have amendments written to get their feedback. So I don't necessarily think that one thing needs to go before the other. This is my thought there. But I do agree to Commissioner Morales's suggestion that it would probably be good for us to get a couple of us together to work on a list of questions, and perhaps I would be interested in perhaps voting on approving those questions during our 27th meeting, and then inviting the auditor in February, just so we're all on the same page and get the most out of that. Those are my thoughts.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Collins.
Thank you. Yeah, my understanding was that so far we've established procedures in two different areas. We established a procedure by which we could invite people to come and address us and share information and how to handle if they reach out to us. And we adopted a procedure for giving sufficient notice to our fellow commissioners of a specific charter amendment that we're proposing, so that you have time to weigh it and understand what you're voting for or against advancing to the ballot next November. I didn't think that we had voted on not being allowed to consider an issue until we have specific amendment language. I think, ma'am, maybe the point of confusion for me or many of us, I don't know, is exactly what a work session was. I guess I was understanding it as basically just putting an agenda item for discussion or like just general learning on the agenda, which I would think would come well before us proposing specific amendment language, and does not in any way like start a clock on that means we're going to consider a specific amendment at this subsequent meeting.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Muchler.
How many of us up here value our time? We're being asked to allot time for a presentation that I would love to go to once and when we have voted to consider that as an amendment. I've got too many things going on to chase down things that might not get 8 votes to pass the commission to move on. Maybe it does, I don't know. I don't know how we would vote on it, but we're doing things out of order. We spent how much time trying to come up with a process tonight, and let's not, within 15 minutes of adopting a process, violate our own process. Right now, the matter of ranked choice voting does not belong to the body. A motion has not been made to submit it as an amendment. It does not belong to us. It'd be just as relevant as let's have a seminar on a swimming pool. Let's have a seminar on any number of topics that we might think are important. I say a swimming pool because I live in Ferndale. We don't got one. You guys got a couple. So it's not proper to bring this up now. We have months to do this, and we should do this. It's an important subject, but we're doing things out of order, and I'm asking this board, who's really worked hard to come up with a set of rules. Let's, the first night here, follow those rules.
As you go ahead, Commissioner Wright.
Thank you. I appreciate what Commissioner Muchler had, a lot of what Commissioner Muchler had to say. As far as violating the rules, I don't know that it violates rules. I do value our time. I'm wondering if it would be possible to just say you're going to reach out, and if we have any informal questions we would like to share with you, do that, or you could reach out individually while exploring it. I'm wondering if we need the presentation in the beginning, or if it's possible, like without having to have a rule, just email or call or speak with them directly. Thoughts?
We have a motion on the table and two commissioners who still want to speak. The chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Respectfully, I feel like if I think about our county auditor and the proposal to say when we are, we have a mayor that we want to invite, that they should be able to speak. I think that these are, these could be compared. And I think it's totally appropriate for us to invite a really important official who does a huge portion of what our charter entails to give us a presentation. I don't think that's a conflict, and I understand the concerns, but I also want to just offer that, for instance, I have questions about elections that aren't necessarily specific to ranked choice voting. I have a lot of questions around our budget for elections, the way decisions are made. I've asked a lot of them personally already, but I think that the entire commission would really benefit from knowing some of the things that I learned. And so that's part of why, when we first started talking about inviting folks, I offered to help put together that list of questions, because I think it would be great for all of us to ask all of the elections questions that we have, and that may or may not involve the style of voting. It may involve other things.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Redding.
Yeah, I was just going to point out that a lot of this we can actually do individually. And I, for one, I'm doing that. I know some of you are, where we're meeting with these elected officials, including the auditor, and actually asking these questions and working these things out in the process of developing our proposals. This doesn't have to be something that comes before the full body to do that.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Stump.
My concern, I agree with Commissioner Muchler. I feel like you're asking for two things that we need to vote on both of them. One, to have the work session, should vote on that. And then we should vote on having the auditor come just to talk about ranked choice voting. I agree with Commissioner Morales in the fact that we should be able to invite them, and they can be an expert in the field of elections and stuff like that. But to put them in the ranked choice voting box, I feel like is out of order.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wonder if it might make sense to amend the original motion to generalize it to work session on Article 4, which is our election procedures, and to invite the auditor to speak and then come up with questions that would be specific to that presentation.
The motion is to place on the calendar for January 27th or the following meeting, a work session on Article 4, including a presentation from the auditor.
Has the motion been seconded?
It has been seconded. And then it was amended. Can we get a voice vote on that amendment? All in favor of that amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no.
Could you raise your hands, please?
We have a no from Commissioners Stump, Kelly, and Muchler.
Madam Chair, would you please, now and in the future, always have the complete text of what the vote that we're about to undertake be? That's only protocol that's called for in Roberts. And also, if I could just go, do you want a bit of unsolicited advice?
I do not. Actually, I read the motion in its entirety and we're fixing to vote on it. We just needed to vote on that amendment first to remove ranked choice voting and put Article 4 in its place. So the motion that we're about to vote on is to place on the calendar for January 27th or the following meeting, a work session on Article 4, including a presentation from the auditor.
Madam Chair, but what is it? What is the wording, the full wording of what this vote before us is?
It's exactly as I just said, Commissioner Allenboss.
What-
Can you please call the roll?
Maya Morales,
Yes.
John Muchler, Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Bill Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
Yes.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
No.
Jennifer Wright,
Yes.
Doug Chadwick,
No.
Eamon Collins,
Yes.
Liz Darrow,
Yes.
Joe Ellenboss,
Yes.
Lin-
As far as I understand.
Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly.
No.
That motion passes with a vote of 11 yes to 4 no. Are there any other items of business from the commission? Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just curious because I know in the procedures that we had passed earlier, we had noted we wanted to prepare a list of questions ahead of time when inviting them for them to consider. Do we want to discuss very briefly what we want that procedure to be? Should we just email those questions to the staff and have them sort of collate those, or do we have any preference, I suppose, just so we're clear on how that's going to happen?
It was my understanding from council that we should email those to Kirsten and Kathy, and then they would put that out in the subsequent packet. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair, I apologize. Could we have the name of the person who seconded that last motion?
That was Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Thank you.
Any further items from commissioners? Chair recognizes Commissioner Ordos.
Thank you. Just reflecting on public comment from earlier this evening. I'd like to put a motion out that after we start the meeting, that we actually say the Pledge of Allegiance at the start of our commission meetings. We're an elected body. We're here to serve the people, and I think that that would be appropriate.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ordos and a second from Commissioner Stump. Any discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Wright.
I was just wondering what's done by the other elected bodies in the county, which ones say the Pledge of Allegiance before and which ones do not?
I can only speak to the county council, and they do say the Pledge of Allegiance.
City of Ferndale City Council is led by the mayor with the Pledge of Allegiance at every meeting.
The Nooksack Valley School District does it every morning.
Bellingham City Council does not do it. Okay, seeing no further discussion. Sorry, I wasn't looking at you. Any further discussion from you? Commissioner Ellenboss? No, sorry. I thought I saw your hand. We have a motion that the commission says the pledge at the beginning of each meeting. That was moved by Commissioner Ordos and seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Can we call the vote?
John Mutchler,
Yes.
Hannah Ordos,
Yes.
Bill Pitts Jordan,
Yes.
Andrew Redding,
No.
Jessica Rienstra,
Yes.
Rod Stump,
Yes.
Jennifer Wright,
Yes.
Doug Chadwick,
Yes.
Eamon Collins,
No.
Liz Darrow,
No.
Joe Ellenboss,
Yes.
Lindsey Graham Ellenboss,
Yes.
Colton Kaltenfeld,
Yes.
Brad Kelly,
Yes.
Maya Morales.
No.
That motion passes 11 to 4. Okay. Any other items from commissioners? Chair recognizes Commissioner Mutchler.
I want to thank staff for creating this space up here. I don't find it too crowded, and maybe each week get to know 2 new people in a very close way. So this is much better, and I want to congratulate the chair. You did a terrific job tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Mutchler. Oh, Chair recognizes Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also wanted to thank staff for all the incredible work that has happened over the last week and incredible work that they have conducted. And I also want to thank the body for what has become lively discussions, and just really want to thank everyone for the openness and to having these discussions.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Kaltenfeld.
Yeah, and while we're thanking folks, I wanted to take a moment to thank the audience for being here. I'm sure it's everybody's top thing to be at the Charter Review Commission meetings on a Monday. So kudos to you all for showing up and being here. We really appreciate you all, the attention that you give. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Morales.
I'd love to echo those thanks. I would also like, I have one small piece of business, which is just, I would love to ask my fellow commissioners to consider whether we may want to have a role, which is the convener of questions for presenters, so that we are not necessarily placing that burden on staff. It's just a thought, just an idea, but maybe consider whether that might be a good idea, and we could, if desired, chat about that at our next meeting.
That didn't sound like a motion. That was just a thought. Okay. Anything else from that end? Seeing none, I am going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 8:10. Thank you, everybody, for being here.